Hello and welcome. I'm glad you're all here today again as we continue to explore the meaning and implications of digital citizenship for our campus. I wanted to start by sharing this infographic that I received. Um, it's new in that I hadn't seen it before, but I appreciate very much some of the benefits that this one has, and it can actually be an exercise that we use with our students. And I particularly like the point system down here and this chutes and ladders approach to figuring out what your digital citizenship score is depending on the specific behaviors, etc. So I have hard copies of these for all of you, and I hope you enjoy distributing these to your students. So let's get back to our work today. And again, my goal with this series is really to work with you on teachable moments. These teachable moments are opportunities for all of us to become more familiar with digital citizenship. And this series, we're going to meet every third Monday of the month. And the goal, except in September, we actually have a specific date, September 11th. But beyond that, we'll be back on track for every third Monday of the month so that we can think about these things. So let's look at today's teachable moment. Again, digital citizenship, if you want to look at it as a review, is really an opportunity for us to think about how technology is integrating into every aspect of campus life, how it's connecting to almost everything we do. Blackboard, I guess, would be the most common thing we all do together, where we all share classroom management activities and how our students submit papers and things of that nature. Also, some of the social network stuff and some of the apps that we sponsor as a university and that our students are involved in. I wanted to put these two bullets down here at the bottom of my slide. Have you met Pokemon Go yet? That started this summer, and I know that a lot of students are getting really into it and practicing it. I also wanted to point out that some of our students are so committed to being engaged, they just don't want us involved in that engagement. And so for a class that I was in this summer, I was aware of a private Facebook group that was coordinated. So let's review. And by the way, these are not Mike Ribble's most current definitions or words that he uses, but I like these because they all come with a question. And so these were adapted from one of his works called Passport to Digital Citizenship, and I have a citation for it at the end of this presentation. But as you can see from the first one, full electronic participation in society. And I like, can all users participate in a digital society at acceptable levels if they choose? And so these are the 9 principles, and here are the other 5. And I think one of the things that we're interested in doing is figuring out how these apply and using these teachable moments, these anecdotes, to think about policy implications and behaviors for both us as faculty and then our students. So for today's discussion, we're going to focus on digital law and how to use technology in an ethical manner. Now this involves something very particular and something we all have to work through. We all use, have our students use softwares to submit their papers so that they can check to make sure that they didn't plagiarize. But the particular instance or circumstance that I identified this time was related to a student I work with a couple semesters ago, and something unique that happened to that student. The Educational Testing Service and the Ad Council actually define what academic cheating is. And the idea there is to, like with digital citizenship, is not to people discover these things. Let's talk about them. What are they? What is it that we can do to avoid them if it's a negative thing or if it's not beneficial? And in that way, we won't run into any confusion. So again, digital law or digital ethics number 6, this is an updated view. Mike Ribble has continued to write since 2008, since he got his doctorate. And he has write for various audiences. And this is the most recent or the current version of 6, which deals with rights and responsibilities. All right, so the scenario I'm going to bring to you is associated with Google Docs editing and sharing. Did it go too far? And so the case scenario that I'm going to bring to you is this idea of students working collaboratively using Google Docs, which is something we encourage. Working collaboratively in any context is something we encourage our students to do. But we had a miscommunication here that led to a student facing a disciplinary hearing, and I think you'll find the scenario quite interesting. So this involved 3 students. All 3 students were working collaboratively, and they were assigned a midterm. They were allowed to use everything, work collaboratively, do everything, and the instructor requested, however, that each of them submit their individual original midterm, meaning they had to write their own project. The teachable moment then is the two students were given an F and referred to academic review hearing. And so this is, let me go back here. So this third bullet says the students worked together and submitted the following: student A an original, student B and student C the same document. Student B and student C got Fs. So as we get to the teachable moment of our exercise, let me go through some of these very specifically. The students were given Fs and referred to an academic probation. At the hearing, it was revealed that much of the work was developed on Google Docs as a shared and editable document. Using Google Docs history features, the following became clear. Even though all 3 students worked together, student A still submitted her own project. Student B and student C, however, submitted the same document, even because they had collaborated together. There was some misimpression by student C as to how much of the document was her document as well, and maybe from her point of view, she may have considered it original work. So student C submitted student B's exact paper. However, she had only added 2 comments and suggested a reformatting of a sentence, a style choice. And we know this because we were able to go into the Google Doc, look at its history feature for the editing, and we were able to see the contributions each of the people made. So everyone is in agreement that they did work together, that they did research the answers together, and that they were able to, at least 2 of them submit their works, but a third one had a miscommunication or a miscue. So let's stop here and work in groups. These are going to be the guiding questions. So in groups, please discuss how we can support each of the students' understanding of cheating and working together. Think about the teacher and the student roles, or the instructor and the student's roles. And I put these questions together because I thought they would be helpful. Should collaborative work be allowed in midterms or other take-home projects if we're expecting original work to be submitted? What is the instructor's role in talking about group work and submitting your own paper? And then lastly, 2 students turned in their own work that they developed as a group. Why did student C not follow the practice of his or her peers? So here we go. What it was the student's different understanding, even though one student clearly knew that she had to submit her own work, and the middle student, let's call it student B, submitted her work from her vantage point. And the last student submitted his or her work as a copy. So I'm going to stop here, and we'll come back and discuss some of these options. So here we are in reporting back. So let's create an issue page. This will help me develop future topics in a series. Does anyone volunteer to record these? So one of the opportunities here, as most of you are noting in your discussions, is that we do have a communication problem. And so and it's interesting that you guys have picked up on it, because it is part of the solution that ultimately determined the fate of these students, particularly the ones that were referred to the academic review. So as we think about next steps, and maybe in your reflections that you want to leave and your evaluations before you exit today, what should the instructor do? What should the students do? And what should the university do in terms of policy, if anything? If you guys could just reflect on these three questions as we walk out. And I really appreciate the time and effort and some of the discussions you guys had in groups, because I think it really helps us think about digital citizenship with regard to cheating and how we can help our students. So this is actually what happened. Student A, no problem. You guys already knew that. Student B was given the grade earned based on her work. And that is because it was determined during the review of the Google Doc history that in fact that student had contributed most of the work, had typed it into her computer. This was in a sense her midterm that she was working on. What wasn't clear and what was not obvious to everyone, but it was obvious to the student, was that there was contributions made by the student that weren't captured, quote unquote, by Google Docs. This is the verbal discussions and analysis they may have had as a group. The committee basically split, right? And so what happened was student C was allowed to submit a new midterm, but she was placed on academic probation. And the reason for that was that her reasoning of, the fact that she contributed to the development of that paper was not fully accepted, but she was given the benefit of the doubt since this was her first incident, and so the committee worked that way. Digital citizenship is very important in this context because the technology that was used to assist in the program served two purposes here. Number one, it created a record of the work and the collaborative effort, and it also was the basis or a platform for this, the outcomes of this assignment. And so I think it's really important that we talk to students and talk to them about the specifics and the expectations we have. And as noted here in the slide, the faculty member did not have a written request in the assignment part of the syllabus that each student, she was explicit in having the students work collaboratively and that they could use all their resources, but she wasn't explicit in demanding that all students submit their own work. And so the student got a little more benefit of the doubt there. So Teachable Moments series will continue. This again is just an 1 hour continuing engagement with the topic, and our next session, as I said, is not going to be on the third Monday. It's going to be on September 11th, and the topic is My Professor Has a Total Ban on the Use of Tablets and Lamps During Lecture or Class Time. Is this fair? Is it fair? Is it a best practice or something else? And here's the citations. I gave all of you copies of the presentation, so if you wanted to continue and follow up, you could do so on your own. Well, again, I want to thank all of you for your participation, and I look forward to working with you on September 11th. Thank you so much. This is Jose.